Inside this burning building, one of the most horrific crimes you'll ever hear about. The charred bodies of 4 teenage girls, all shot in the head.
30 years ago today, a crime that left an eternal imprint on Austin and remains unsolved to this day.
4 teenage girls were bound, gagged, and shot at an I can't believe it's yogurt shop. The building and their bodies badly damaged by flames.
The loss of a loved one is a pain that cannot be easily put into words. When that loss is sudden and unexpected, the shock and grief can be overwhelming. The tragic death of a loved one due to homicide is a nightmare that no one should ever have to experience. The impact of such a loss is far-reaching, affecting not only family members and friends, but the wider community as well. The toll of violent crimes is immeasurable, leaving wounds that may never fully heal. In this dark reality, it is crucial to honor and remember the lives lost, to seek justice for those responsible, and to support those left behind. This topic is one that demands our attention, our empathy, and our efforts to prevent such tragedies from occurring in the future. It is with heavy hearts that we report the tragic and senseless murder of a 15-year-old at an Austin yogurt shop. This devastating incident has left a community reeling with grief and searching for answers. The loss of a young life is always a tragedy, but the circumstances of this crime have only deepened the pain and sorrow felt by those who knew and loved the victim. As details of the investigation emerge, it is clear that this is a heartbreaking and shocking event that will be felt for years to come. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the family and friends of the victim, as well as to the entire community affected by this terrible loss. It is with a heavy heart that we reflect on the life of Amy Lee Ayers, a 13-year-old 8th grader at Burnett Middle School, whose bright future was cut tragically short. Amy was a gifted young woman, a member of the yearbook staff and a talented artist who had a passion for animals. She nurtured this love through participating in the Future Farmers of America program and showing hogs in the Travis County Fair and Rodeo. Her dreams of becoming a veterinarian were a testament to her deep compassion for creatures great and small. Tragically, those dreams were never realized. Amy's family, friends, and community mourn the loss of a young woman with so much promise and potential, whose life was taken far too soon. Her memory will live on through those who knew and loved her, and her legacy will continue to inspire and touch many lives. The events that unfolded on December 6, 1991, forever changed the lives of those who knew and loved Amy, a young girl who had her whole life ahead of her. That day had started out as any other, with Amy attending school and eagerly anticipating a sleepover with her friends. However, her plans would never come to fruition. After being picked up by Jennifer and taken to the mall, Amy and Sarah were last seen by witnesses who reported seeing 2 men sitting inside the yogurt shop. As the night wore on, Eliza and Jennifer were left to close the store, with no indication of the danger that awaited them. The discovery of a missing $540 and a no sale on the register pointed to a crime taking place between 11:03 p.m. and 11:48 p.m. Tragically, the crime that occurred that night claimed the life of Amy and altered the course of many others forever. The loss of such a bright and promising young life is a tragedy that is felt deeply to this day. The events that unfolded at the Austin yogurt shop on that fateful night are nothing short of a tragedy that is etched into the memories of all who knew and loved the victims. Emergency personnel responding to reports of a fire discovered the bodies of Amy Ayers, Eliza Thomas, Jennifer Harbison, and Sarah Harbison in the back room of the building. The horrific nature of their deaths is almost unbearable to comprehend. Eliza, Jennifer, and Sarah were stacked on top of each other, covered in an accelerant, and set ablaze. Meanwhile, Amy was found in a separate part of the store, with evidence of sexual assault and 2 gunshot wounds. The first shot, from a .22 gun, failed to penetrate her skull and was not fatal. The second shot, however, was fatal, with a .380 bullet entering her brain and exiting out of her right cheek. The fact that Amy was found separated from the other girls suggests that she was desperately trying to escape, but tragically, her efforts were in vain. The brutality and violence inflicted upon these young girls are beyond words, leaving a community in shock and mourning the loss of 4 innocent lives. The heinous crime that took the lives of Amy Ayers, Eliza Thomas, Jennifer Harbison, and Sarah Harbison continues to haunt the Austin community, even after all these years. Despite multiple arrests, convictions, and exonerations, the case remains unsolved, leaving the families of the victims without answers and closure. The brutality of the crime committed against these young girls has left an indelible mark on the community, with many struggling to come to terms with such a senseless act of violence. As time passes, hope has been kept alive by the possibility of DNA testing revealing the identity of the perpetrators. The case has become a symbol of the need for justice for victims of violent crimes, inspiring the Homicide Victims' Families' Rights Act, which seeks to provide families with a full reinvestigation of cold cases, including the use of modern forensic testing standards. The unresolved nature of this case is a reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of holding those responsible for such heinous crimes accountable. As we reflect on the devastating effects of homicide and violent crimes, we must acknowledge the pain and suffering experienced by those who have lost loved ones. We must also recognize the tireless efforts of law enforcement, advocates, and community members who work towards justice and support for victims and their families. While we cannot undo the harm caused by these senseless acts of violence, we can strive to create a society that values life, safety, and compassion for all. Let us honor the memory of those who have been taken from us too soon and work towards a future where no one has to experience the devastating impact of violent crime.
Early that morning, the doorbell rang, and I looked out my bedroom window and saw police cars. The next thing was they asked, did we have a daughter named Amy? I said yes. And then my next thought was, had she been raped? I never dreamed that we were going to talk about murder. And then they said there had been a fire, and at that point, then I thought, well, she's burned. And then they said, we're sorry to tell you that she was dead.